Triple H and Shawn Michaels were at OVW watching for talent, and I just said, "Hey, I'm Jesse ODB," and I guess he's like, "I love your character, but unfortunately, Vince does not like it." And I said, "Well, I actually got a call from Terry Taylor from TNA. He's like, take it. You can still have a career." 'Cause I never once was signed by WWE. I was just a TNA girl.
The progression that I've had from where I started to where I am now is a completely different wrestler. In ring, I've gotten better, but even character-wise, like, I'm so much more comfortable and I'm figuring it out. Like, once I really find that one thing, like, I'm unstoppable.
All of us is coming together. It's like, oh, I just got goosebumps talking about it. It's just like all of us coming together, and you're just like, oh shit, we finally got our break.
Can you talk to us about what that first time walking out in front of the TNA crowd was like?
Yeah, it was pretty badass.
Rewind, recap, relive. Woo! That's what the world is watching.
My first guest has been making her name known for about 7 years now in the wrestling world. Up here in the Northeast area and beyond, you've probably seen her in GTS Wrestling, to name one. She's a cotton candy princess. Your favorite princess. Please welcome Tiffani Avatar.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. And, you're on with an absolute veteran of the industry. She's returning to this show in particular. She's a former 4-time Knockouts champion, or knocked up champion, as she put it. 1-time tag team champion, TNA original, who even got married inside a steel cage. Please welcome ODB back to the show.
What's going on?
What's up? Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
me back again. It's been a few years.
It
I
has. It's
believe
been a while. The last time you were on with Sky Blue.
guy,
Um,
and yeah,
and look what she's doing
doing her
now.
thing. You know, right? That's pretty badass.
Definitely. No, it's really cool. How is everything going with the food truck business?
Great. We just got done. This is my first day off in probably 15 days. It's nuts. We have 2 food trucks. I run them with my husband, Alan, Big Al, and it's crazy. We have a lot of big events. We do a lot of concerts, and yeah, it's craziness. It's because we're all smoked meat, so we do everything. We just don't go to the store buy frozen shit. We actually make all our food. And so it's a lot of work, but we only have like 17 more dates left, and then we take the winters off because I live in Minnesota and we do not food truck in the wintertime. So we bust our ass in the summertime.
It's so cool to see it still going, like, so successful. I remember the last time we spoke, I think it was after the first one had burned down. I think it was
Mhm.
after that, yeah, and you rebuilt and everything. But I don't think Big Al was part of it yet either.
Nope, because we just married. We've been married for 2 years, been together for 4. So he just hopped on 2021.
Nice.
Oh, and he is the pit master. So pro wrestler and a pit master works out.
Tiffany, have you ever gotten a chance to try ODB's food truck at any events?
I have not. I am in a hidey hole north of Albany, and I do not see anybody unless I'm at a show.
Like,
I saw that TNA rolled into Minnesota, which I thought was cool. I think it was Minnesota, right? And you were able to go not only return home to TNA, but bring the food truck. Kind of experience was that?
yes, I kind of do my own thing. I've always, even when I was with TNA, I never even asked for permission. I just always did it. And that was kind of like this thing. I have all the food truck permits, all that. So, of course, they were in Minneapolis. And I just called the Armory, actually, where they were performing. And I called them. I said, hey, I'm bringing my food truck. And they're like, all right, just make sure you have your permits, blah, blah, blah. And then I talked to Ross Foreman, the PR guy, and he hooked me up. TNA didn't pay for it, but I had to pay for my spot to be on the street. So I paid like $200 I think for 2 days. I actually had all the meters covered. So
Oh,
I paid
cool.
for like 15 parking spaces and I only used one, but whatever. But it was cool. The fans liked it. A lot of the wrestlers did come out. That was very awesome. They did a lot of like, Instagram stuff and
Yeah.
videos, and they all, Everyone paid. I wasn't giving no free shit away. So, but it was very cool. I didn't do anything on the show, but I met the TNA president, Carlos.
Hmm.
Very awesome guy. I literally just grabbed him when he was walking down the street. I said, introduce myself because he obviously he doesn't know wrestling, especially the TNA history that much. So I had to reintroduce myself, and he's like, "Damn, this is awesome. What are we doing anything with you on the show?" And I was like, "Nope." He's like, "Come back." He's like, "When you're done food trucking, come backstage and we'll announce that you're here." I'm like, "Well, thank you." I mean,
That's exciting.
I really did want to, and I pushed for it. I don't know who stopped it, but I wanted to drive the food truck into the armory,
Hmm.
my dream, or at least have it my food truck on TV. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I was asking, just an OG knockout, asking for something little, but it didn't happen.
Well, there's still time though. I'm imagining you driving it like Stone Cold did the beer truck. I don't know
Hmm.
what you were imagining, but
Yes, that's what I was, or yeah, or Kurt Angle's milk truck.
or
I was
Kurt
like,
Angle's,
damn.
yeah, exactly. That is a cool goal for down the road for sure. I think merging
Yes,
the TNA career with the food truck would be awesome
right.
on
I'm like,
I
what's
would
up,
love to see
bitches?
it.
screen. Well, there is so much in the world of wrestling to get into that I loved, but I want to start at the beginning for you both. And Tiffany, I'll go to you first. I know wrestling entered your life at a very young age. Can you tell us how it did?
So wrestling is wild for me because it really is like when people say like, "What's the first thing you remember on TV?" It's literally the first ever Inferno match between Kane and the Undertaker when I was 3, and I just remember seeing Undertaker's face and all the fire around him, and I was like, "Wow, this is the coolest guy ever! I love him." And then from there on, it was wrestling for me.
That is an awesome first match to grab you too. I don't know how it wouldn't grab you. An Inferno watching two people set themselves on fire.
I like that because I like how and you don't hear that along from the younger talent, where you are looking at two characters. And a lot of people don't look at characters anymore. They look at the flippity floppity. Oh my God, you see that move? And when you said that, I was like, whoa, that's like a breath of fresh air. Like you looked at two big characters. That's awesome.
I think for
Very
me, what's
cool.
different for me about wrestling is, to your point, a lot of people love the actual wrestling, but the actual wrestling isn't what brought me into it. It was the characters. It was Undertaker, it was Kane, it was Eddie Guerrero, it was all of these people that were so much larger than life. And like, wow, you guys really do feel like superheroes. Like you could do all these things. Oh, and you fight people. Like this is spectacular.
So, wow, that's pretty badass. I love hearing that.
Thank you.
There's really no combination like it out there. Was there a lot of wrestling like going on indie wise where you were growing up, Tiffany?
So again, what kind of makes me different, and I feel like in a way it's a disadvantage for me, is other than WWE, I didn't find out about like independent wrestling until probably I want to say it was 2017, 2018. I had no idea that
Okay.
independent wrestling was a thing at all. My best friend happened to be dating an independent wrestler, and how she wanted to introduce us was at an indie show 5 minutes from my house. And I was like, "What are you talking about? I could just go like here and people are wrestling." And she was like, "Hold on, I'm gonna show you."
And then what promotion was that?
That was SWF in New Jersey.
Oh, okay, cool. Wow, that's awesome. So you just and then you figured out like there actually is a spot to do this. Were you expecting Inferno matches and stuff, or what had you changed?
You know what? Honestly, I had no idea what I was like walking into when I got there. My sister actually went with me, and she like apparently knew this was a thing for years and just never shared with me. But she like knew who like certain people were, and I'm like, how do you know that these people exist? Like, what is happening right now? But I remember seeing some. I don't remember who he was, but he was one of the managers, and I don't know what I said that day, but he hooked me into trying to get into independent wrestling because I pissed him off real bad, and I thought it was hysterical.
He was like, "You'll be perfect." Well, uh, vice versa, Jesse. I mean, there was a ton of wrestling history where you were growing up, right? In Minnesota. Is that what urged you to get into it too?
Yeah, just like Tiffany, it was funny because I just I did an independent show back in May, and I was actually having beers with Eric Bischoff after the show. And he asked me a question. He's like, "What got you into wrestling? Like what era? What got you?" And I said the characters. I'm like, it was the 80s and just watching like the Honky Tonk Man, Jade the Snake, Roushing Rick Rude and all that. And that's what caught me. I was like, the characters, oh my God, and their outfits. And it wasn't about the moves. I mean, Modi had, leg drops and the sleeper and the DDT. And now it's like the opening spot to DDT and they kick out at one. So but just the characters, and that's what I love about Tiffani when she said that. I was like, oh my God, you don't hear that a lot. And then growing up in Minnesota, we had the AWA from the Ganyas, the territories, and my parents would take me to shows. And it was just, yeah, it was just, well, the men were big, larger than life back in the day. They were way bigger than the men wrestling nowadays. But it was just watching that, and you're just like, oh wow, and I really didn't believe a normal person could do that for a living.
So when do
Just
you find out that somebody can? Because you end up trying out for the first season of Tough Enough, which I feel like a lot of fans might not know.
right, right. I did. It was 2000. I was watching WWF at the time, and Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross were commentating. They're like, "Do you have what it takes to become a WWF superstar? You think you're tough enough?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And then, like, me and my brother, we made a little video at our big VHS recorder, and I called myself ODB, One Dirty Bitch, already, and from Minneapolis, because Minneapolis has a huge wrestling. So I think that helped too, being from here. They called me and got to New York City, and I made it to the top 25, but did not make it on the show. But after that, I went home and went on the old Google and caught someone, Eddie Sharkey trained me. He trained a lot like the World Warriors, Ravishing Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was different. Because I remember like walking in, it was like a warehouse. It was like literally a garage. And Eddie Sharkey was sitting in the lawn chair. He just takes your money. And he just sits there and watches. And then you got the two trainers inside the ring. And I was the only chick for a long time, actually, the only chick ever in that school. And I would just get in there and you just learn the basics.
Yeah.
But it also taught me the respect of the business. That's what I learned basically first. Because he said the moves aren't important. I mean, they are, but you know what I mean. But got to have respect. You got to, pay, dues to the people that came before you and all that. Even if you don't know who they were, know it. Because I mean, like, growing up, I didn't watch ECW. That wasn't my
Mhm.
thing. I was just a pure WWF chick watching. You know.
What was your confidence like after the Tough Enough thing didn't work out? Because that was so early on in your career. Like, did it just fire you up?
Yeah, I did because I was maxed. I was like, oh, I didn't make it because reality shows weren't big back then. It was just like the real world, I think.
Yeah.
So you didn't have all the stuff they have now. You didn't have, the internet stuff. And then I was like, well, I was talking to them because my parents came with me. They're like, well, this is something you want to do. We believe in you. We'll get behind you in any way we can. And then because I think it was probably just a few months after, and I started using, so I'd go to these wrestling camps, I'd be like, I was on Tough Enough. I was on the top 25. They're probably like, I don't give a fuck.
Like similar question for you then, Tiffany, because I know one of the first promotions you go to is GTS Wrestling, which for those who don't know, that's Grimm's Toy Show, right? Which blew up. I mean, that was huge at one point. I'm not sure if it was at that point when you joined, but you were early in your career walking into a promotion that is big. What's your confidence like?
So my time at GTS, I feel like a lot of times, like I was kind of there and I learned a lot about like managing and character, but I didn't really wrestle too much while I was there. Um, that would that was like my first like experience, I guess, and I definitely was not trained or prepared for it. So I kind of just learned on the go. I think for me, it's an unconventional way to start for sure. But I'm glad that I had that experience because I definitely learned a lot, one about myself and what I'm capable of. But I think it also gave me the motivation to say, you know what, I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with how much I'm not wrestling. I want to do more.
And when you did finally do more, or maybe you said you wrestled a little bit, do you remember what that first match was?
I want to say it was a tag match against Tony and Franchini,
Love them.
and it was awful.
Right, that was my next one. Did it go the way you wanted to? But I guess they never really do. Jesse, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, I mean my first few years in wrestling was a shit show. Yeah, I remember my first match. It was in a bar, Grumpy's in Minneapolis, and it was a against a girl that no longer she didn't go anywhere. She was just like an indie girl for a few years, and yeah, you're. I mean, I remember like my outfits, my first like few years of wrestling, and then like you said too, like I also just started managing because there wasn't a lot of women for me to work. So I would, Sean Davari, he's now a WWE agent. Me and him worked a lot together because we were pretty much the same size and stuff. And he led the way for me. We would just go in the ring, but we'd play, like a guy versus a girl. It wasn't like hey, punch me in the face and I get right back up. It wasn't like that. So I learned how to storytell, I guess, in my earlier days.
Was there like intergender wrestling, I guess, in the indies, but was it really happening a lot in like the bigger companies, or was that more just an indie thing back then?
I think kind of like in that era, because that was like the Attitude Era, like when China was there, I think it
Yeah,
started doing that, and then like Molly Holly started doing stuff. Intergender, I think they did start kicking the intergender around finally
a little
in
bit.
a
Yeah.
different style, I think. But
Because Tiffany, I mean, that's like constant, very consistent on the indies these days, right?
Yes, it is definitely more consistent. I think you'll find, especially as a female, if you're open to doing intergender wrestling, you'll get more bookings.
Mhm.
Interesting. Yeah. Is there any difference like between wrestling like a man or a woman, or all the same, really?
For me, I think it really depends. There are some guys that I have been in the ring with, and it's no different. Like everything is so smooth, everything is so clean. And then there's other guys that you get in the ring with, and it doesn't go the way that you'd want it to go. And they're a little bit more tougher than, you expect. And sometimes that sucks, but it is what it is.
Right, you work
Yeah.
around it, yeah. Well, so Jesse, you said that you started calling yourself ODB in the Tough Enough days, but you go to OVW, and I'm curious, like, how do you kind of craft the ODB character into what we see now? Did you there, or did that come later?
No, that came in OVW because I remember I met Al Snow at Tough Enough.
Okay.
And I mean, we didn't talk like one on one, but he just remembered me out of all the people. And then I started doing indies, and like maybe I had 3 years under my belt, and he was like, I remember you from Tough Enough. You're the one dirty bitch. I'm like, what? And so he started talking. He's like, please let me know if anything I can do for you down the road. He's like, I see something in you. And then I just, I moved to Nashville, and then I moved to Louisville with OVW, and he's like, I want to have you here. I want to really bring out like who is ODB, who's one dirty bitch.
Yeah.
And they let me without a contract because I was actually in the contracted class without a contract. And then they kept WWF. I think they were still WWF back then. They said, why is this girl on OVW TV when she's not signed on her contract? They're like, I don't know, you tell us. Why don't you sign her? But yeah, obviously they never did. But yeah, they let me just do it. Like, just go until we tell you to back off a little bit. But
Yeah.
they never did.
That's very cool though. Another first, right? The first at Eddie Sharkey, and then I don't know if that was the first that wasn't signed, but definitely seemed like an exclusive list.
Yeah, because I was in, I mean, you had Punk was there, Yeah, Nick Nemeth was there. Cody Rhodes just started there. Ryback, then Beth Phoenix, Mickey James, and Melina just left. And then you had Serena Deebs, Alicia Fox, Kelly were all there, and I was basically the one. Like me and Serena Deebs were the the two non-contractors,
Okay.
but we were helping the other girls. But
Was Jim Cornette still in charge of OVW then, or no?
he just left.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, dang it.
I know, wouldn't that have been cool? Did you ever cross paths with him then, I guess, in TNA?
Yep, he actually helped me with a lot of my in-ring promos. Because when I first started, they gave me a lot of mic time, which I mean, give me a live mic. Oh, but back then I was so like, just, and you can tell when you watch old promos of mine. It's like you can tell I was like, thinking what am I saying next? But yeah, he helped me a lot with those promos.
Tiffany, do you have any memories of early promos and kind of how they've evolved for you?
So I've always been able to like, I'm quick-witted. I could come back with anything really fast. It's very hard for me not to have something to say. So when people do shut me down, I'm like, oh snap, okay, that's a victory for you. Um, I wasn't good at promos in the beginning. I think a lot of that had to do with I didn't know what my character was. I didn't know what I was doing, so I have no idea what I'm saying. Like a lot of like what ODB said as well is a lot of the character work got us. And I listened to all of Undertaker's promos, but at the same time, that was my hindrance. Is he's such a great character. He knows exactly what his character is going to say. I started with no character. I was just, hi, I'm Tiffany. Tiffany is not a fighter. Okay, I am a guitar playing. I'm gonna go sit and listen to music. I have no idea what I'm saying in this, so I need to figure out my character. And then once I got to Titan Championship Wrestling and I did their free for all tryout, they put us all on a line and said, "All right, everybody's got 30 seconds to talk and impress us." And I was like, "Oh snap! I don't. Oh snap! See it?" I was like, I don't know what my character is. And I'm standing there with these massively, excessively long pink and blue braids. And I was like, oh, I'm the cotton candy princess. And then I got in the ring after I thought that to myself. And they're like, all right, tell us. And I just went off. They let me talk, I think, a little bit longer, but that was the first time I really felt like, okay, I have a character. Now I know where I'm going with this. And then since then, I've been able to progress and get a lot better.
That's an awesome way to develop it on the spot, though. I mean, I can't imagine the pressure as the mic is coming to you and you have to
Literally,
think of something that's gonna stick. Yeah.
I remember like watching everybody like do their 30 seconds and come back and then I was like, I'm third in line and I have no idea what I'm doing. This is crazy. Why did I do this?
Oh, that's insane. I heard you say that early on you had a run-in with Tommy Dreamer that you've brought up a few times in interviews that you say it helped you out a lot in the beginning. I know he's doing a lot with TNA now, by the way. Did he lend you some good advice there?
I think for me, Tommy Dreamer, like, so how I met him was going to the SWF shows because after I went to that first one, like me and my sister just made it a thing for a couple of years. Like that was our way to hang out was we both love wrestling, so let's go. And I had met him at one show and he was like, are you wrestling yet? And I was like, no. And then he asked me a couple more times, and I think it was the third time he asked me. I was like, all right, if this man is asking me if I'm wrestling at this many times, clearly I have to do something. There has to be a way for me to take this like seriously and do something with it. So I give him a lot of credit because I don't think, as much as I always thought to myself and really believed that I was meant to be in wrestling, I don't know that I would have properly have been motivated without his, are you wrestling?
That's cool. Have you ever been able to tell him that on like another show or no?
Yeah, so I walked up to him. I think it was Big Event New York, and I walked up to him after not seeing him for like forever. And I was like, I don't even know if you remember me, but I am wrestling now. And he was like, I know, I remember you. And I was like, well, snap. Okay, that's cool.
That is very cool. Jesse, do you have any memories with Tommy or cross paths with him, I guess in TNA, right?
Yes, we did a lot of indies together, and we always talk about it was me and Tracy Brooks, TNA Hall of Famer now, and my best friend. I talk to her every day, and Dreamer, like we'd always do shows together, and then it's just funny because I remember like our last show, our last independent show together, me, Tracy, and Dreamer, and me and Tracy for the first time because that was, oh God, you had to at least 15, maybe 20 years ago. Shit. And we were on an indie show, and me and Tracy were like, we're renting a car. We're gonna pay for it ourselves. We are renting a car because I'm not getting into the another freaking junker with a promoter that brings his cousin and then their brother, and then you got to stop at their parents' house, and they want to have fucking dinner with you, and it's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. So we rented a car. We get to the show. Dreamer's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Really?" He's like, "I had to drive with the promoter." I'm like, "That's your fault, man." I'm like, "How many years you been doing this?" I'm like, "Come on." So we always like kid around. So
Yeah.
he'll message us, when he's on a bad indie show. So
That is so funny. I'm imagining the promoter pulling up with a van of wrestlers to his parents.
I mean, there's time. Yeah, I mean, because I did so many indies back in the day, and even when I was kind of still with TNA, and oh Lordy, I mean, you find a person, they're in the car, and I'm like, oh God, and then there's like three other people in the car. They're like, oh, do you mind if I gotta pick something up, or then I'll drop you off at the hotel, and oh, can we like hang out? I'm like, no. I'm like, then, I mean, me and Tracer were always nice though. We always went to the after party after the show when we did our thing, and but I mean, no, I don't. I mean, ask me beforehand, but I don't really want to have dinner with your whole fucking family, like 20 people.
Really not asking a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
You eventually, so from OVW, find your way to TNA and not only an OG knockout, but like a fixture of the knockouts division. How did that journey from OVW to TNA come about?
Yeah, because I remember the day, and it was 2007 when they first started the actual knockout division with the belt. And I was actually the OVW champion at the time, and Triple H and Shawn Michaels were at OVW watching for talent, and I did a match. And then after the show, Triple H, standing there talking to people, I'm like, all right, I got to go up and talk to him, and I just said, hey, I'm Jesse ODB, and he's like, yes, he's like, I love your character, but unfortunately, Vince does not like it. But I love it. He's like, just keep doing your thing. And I said, well, I actually got a call from Terry Taylor from TNA. He's like, take it. He's like, that's going to be a great opportunity for you. He's like, you get to be you. You're starting a new thing. You get to be part of something, make history. He's like, go do it. And thank God for OVW for that 2 years of learning how to do TV, doing the hard cam, cutting promos. I mean, we were there well, almost pretty much 7 days a week doing stuff, having, all the agents coming down, like Dusty Rhodes doing promo classes with us. And so I was ready. I think I was ahead of the game on some of the girls because I did all that before I got to TNA, which helped me. Oh my God, so much.
What do you think it is that made you fit in better with TNA than WWE at that time?
Because all of us girls came through together when we all did the indies. Because I was already, what, 7 years in the business.
Mhm.
So it was, me, Tracy Brooks traveled the roads together so many freaking years. And then she was good friends with Gail Kim. And, um, he had the beautiful people, Angelina Love, traveled the roads with her. Velvet Sky, I got to see what she did indies forever. And then who else? And then Kong from Japan. She spent, years and years in Japan. And then with all of us just coming together, it's like, oh, I just got goosebumps talking about it. It's just like all of us coming together, and you're just like, oh shit, we finally got our break. And it was cool because it wasn't WWE, and it was TNA. We were starting something that who knows where it was gonna go. But obviously, look at them. The knockouts, till today is going great, and I love it because it's a place where you can be you and you can build that character instead of saying, getting a script, hey, this is who you're gonna be. And you get to be free still. Like TNA was always the locker room has always been great.
Mm.
People working there, and it wasn't just, because everyone's like, oh, WWE, got to get there. Nowadays, it's like, no, you can still have a career. 'Cause I never once was signed by WWE. I was just a TNA girl. Like,
Yeah. Crazy to think about because, yeah, even back in OVW, not officially signed, but there. That's
it
awesome.
just wasn't in the cards, but,
But look what
all
you did
right.
in TNA. I mean, it's a great legacy. Tiffany, were you watching the Knockouts division?
Again, for me, it was very strange because I think I discovered TNA in about, I want to say 2010, because Hogan um had posted something on Twitter about TNA, and I was like, well, wait a minute, what is this? There's another wrestling promotion? I don't understand what's happening. And then it took me like another 2 weeks after that to figure out how to watch it. And then I finally found it, and Jeff Hardy was on my screen, and I was super confused about what was going on in my life. But I ended up watching it from that point on. He had just done the whole, I think it was Down for Glory, if I'm not mistaken. And he was sitting on top of the cage, and it was crazy and mind blowing for me. But at that point, I did get hooked into TNA for a little bit.
Yeah, that's an awesome time to get into it too. I think I have a similar. Jeff got me into it, but I think it was like his first run when he came out on that like House of Fun. Remember that? I think that was his debut. He just kind of walked out, or was it not the House of Fun? What's that match called that Raven um came up with? Do you remember, Jesse? It was the go Clockwork Orange. I think that was the name. He
Oh,
comes out and
okay.
he just goes right on top of that and sits down. It was, but yeah, he got me into it too. It was cool, so cool that you were able to find that alternative though too. So were you watching side by side then at that time?
At that time, I was really trying to, but I'm gonna be so honest. I'm an ADHD person, and it's always like I'm doing so many things at once. There was times where like I would watch WWE for a month and then be like, okay, now I'm gonna catch up on TNA, and then just keep going back and forth between the two.
Well, it's funny because we saw the women's evolution in WWE in like 2014 or 15, but clearly TNA was doing that first from the start, showcasing women's wrestling with the knockouts. Was that the feeling in the locker room too, Jesse, that they were that you guys were showing it first?
Yeah, just I just don't think we just never got the credit. Um, so I think like just I mean we were on we got big because it was on Spike TV, and then Hogan came in and did all that stuff and helped to get more eyes on us. But yeah, watching and even the girls like back then that I just met, like I just met the Bella Twins for the first time
Oh
this
wow.
past WrestleMania, hung out with them, and they're like, "Oh my God, I just loved everything you guys did." And we talked about that. I'm like, "Oh, you guys were watching us?" They're like, "Yeah, we were." So they were watching us. It's kind of funny, but of course we didn't have the social media we do now. We had Twitter, and none of us knew how to tweet back then. I remember teenagers like, "You guys got to tweet about the show." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No, I think I still had MySpace or I was doing Facebook, but I wasn't really promoting. I don't know. We didn't give a shit about that back then. We were just like, whatever. We just go to towns, put up flyers, and all that stuff. But yeah, I just think just didn't get the credit. But hopefully, but now I think people are like rewatching TNA, and now with them involved with NXT, I think it's getting back to where it used to be. It's
Yeah,
very cool.
absolutely. You're almost seeing like a new generation of fan too that's discovering TNA today with this partnership.
Right? Yep. And they're rewatching the old stuff. Because I used to have little kids when I was in Minneapolis with the food truck, and they're like, "Oh, can we get your autograph?" And they had the trading cards, and I'm like, "You're like 8." I'm like, "Damn." So you're going back and rewatching it. That's awesome.
That is cool. And when you burst on the scene as ODB in TNA, I feel like you quickly became a fan favorite. Can you talk to us about what that first time walking out in front of the TNA crowd was like?
Yeah, it was pretty badass. Yeah, well, it's cool because we're just getting introduced. The fans don't know much about us. Like, yeah, they may have followed in the independent circuit, but you had to reintroduce yourself. You
Mm.
didn't come from a teenage territory, you didn't come from, developmental. And it was like, all right, well, I gotta show them who I am. And all that stuff I did. I mean, I watched some of my stuff back. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, I was crazy, I guess. And then with the flask, and I didn't even ask for permission with that. Because I know James Storm had the beer.
Yep.
He even said too, he's like, "Are you gonna be drinking beer out there?" I'm like, "No, that's Stone Cold's a gimmick." And then then, but then I came out with the flask. I was like, "Yeah, they didn't say no," so I just kept doing it and just had fun with it.
Yeah, and look what it became. And your character too was so different than anything I think we'd ever seen on TV, from like a women's wrestling perspective, but also just wrestling in general. It was very unique.
Thank you. It was something like I think I always had an attitude. I think since I was a little girl, like I don't give a rat's ass. I mean, I did get my hand slapped a few times at TNA, but it wasn't obviously I was still there, so they didn't do nothing about it. But I would just laugh about it. But I was like, okay, well, let's just. I always try to cross the line,
Mhm.
and I was like, let's just. Because my thing was always have fun out there and do your thing, and but yeah, it was. I enjoyed it. The characters, because all of us had friggin' characters back then, especially like with the beautiful people, and I was such the opposite of them, which made great, storylines.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it really did. And Tiffany, we heard how you developed your Cotton Candy Princess character, but how has it evolved? What have you done to kind of keep it going since then? So you had the hair originally, and what are some more pieces you added to it?
So originally I would walk out with one of those super big lollipops, the squirrel ones.
See, yeah.
Um, the the problem with walking out with those is that people think you could just, smash it over people. So I would go in with a lollipop and then I was always leaving shows with that one. And I was like, okay, sorry, we're destroying things over here. My cat has found his way. Um, I found like, okay, what do I do here? Because I cannot spend $18 on these massive lollipops every single show I have. And it got to a point where I was buying a new lollipop every show I was doing. And I was like, well, I'm a princess. And I was sweeping my apartment at like 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, what if I had a princess scepter? So I'm literally handmade my first one, which I did try to bring to MLW, but that got shut down. It was fine. I expected it. It's a 5 foot wand. Like I did not expect many people to let me just walk into their show with a 5 foot wand and be like, I'm here now. Um, from there, I started building, and it should be done soon. I started building my princess throne. Nobody has seen it yet, but it's fantastic. It is the most glitteriest chair I have ever seen in my life, and I love it. It's just little things that I think of because, like, when I'm announced, I'm from Candyland, and I try to always think, okay, so I'm a princess from Candyland. What do I need? What do I do? What can I add on to here? So I built the LED one, which I debuted a couple of months ago, and I'm working on another version of the LED one to kind of combine the two. Um, but it's just like whatever I see in my head is just what I bring in. I don't really
Mm.
know how to explain it. It's just
It just works, right?
it just yeah, so it just works. And like I did for Mount Olympus for Titan Championship Wrestling, I made a Warhead crown, which is a princess crown completely made out of Sour Patch Kids and Warhead candies. Just
It's awesome.
whatever I think of that fits the occasion.
I'm imagining Wreck-It Ralph. Like that's I don't know if you've seen it, but that whole
So
Candyland thing, yeah.
Vanellope is one of my favorites, and she is a lot of my inspiration. So like a lot of my snapbacks are some very Vanellope like.
Yeah, no, I could see it. I also love the difference between you bringing a lollipop and then ODB bringing the flask to the ring. Different sides of the spectrum there, but both effective. ODB, do you have any advice for character building like that? Like maybe how you were going about evolving?
No, I love it. Like Tiffany's going down the right track. Like I love it how you're thinking about it all the time. You're doing something different. Adding a prop is great because you can use it in the match. Because I mean, it's like with the flask. Like even when I did like indies too. So I didn't want to like, lift everyone up and do my finish on everyone. I was like, oh, spray the flask in the face. As long as it was cool with people. I didn't like doing it, if someone didn't like that. But I said, just close your eyes and then bam, just roll them up easy. It's like that's the thing is be a character, just use this time to have fun. Because that way, even if it's not going to be your character down the road, you can still you're trying stuff and you're working on your promos, you're working on how you look, you're adding stuff, and then you can look back and just, take pieces and stuff from it. Because when you do make it, who knows, they may like totally change you, but you'll be ready for it because you were always creating yourself. I think that's the key.
Absolutely.
And it's
Thank you.
cool because you're not, I can already tell because you're not worried about like the move situations, I mean, you're just focused on character, and that's you don't I don't see or hear that a lot at all. So I'm really liking that.
I think for me, especially like with me wrestling, like I know I'm not the most as athletic, right? I'm not the worst wrestler in the world, but I'm definitely not the best. And I'm never going to say that I'm the best. I'm always going to say I'm working at it because the one thing I can say about myself is the progression that I've had from where I've started to where I am now is a completely different wrestler. The person that people saw at GTS or the LCW shows or even the early Kaiju Pro Wrestling and Titan shows, it's not the same person. I've been through and done so much evolving and changing that I always try to encourage people like, yeah, you might have thought I sucked before, but even character wise, in ring I've gotten better, but even character wise, like I'm so much more comfortable and I'm figuring it out. Like once I feel so confident in saying that once I really find that one thing, like I'm unstoppable. I'm
Right?
gonna have that. That princess energy is gonna be so big, these people are not gonna know what to do.
I love it. That's awesome.
Love absolutely. I love that confidence. Is there a favorite moment, Jesse, where you're able to use the flask for your victory? Because I know it secured quite a few, at least that we saw in TNA.
Actually, the one I did, and it wasn't the flask, it was actually a bottle of Jack Daniels. It was
No.
made out of sugar glass, and it was for the Knockout New Year's Eve show. And I actually wrestled 3 times that night. And it was my second or third, shit, I don't remember. My second match. It was against Awesome Kong. We didn't even talk about anything. We're just like, all right, just go out there, do our thing. We had 6 or 8 minutes. But we knew the finish was the sugar glass. So she was gonna pick me up, like power bomb me, and I grabbed it. But I was so careful with it that I didn't want to like pick it up and then all of a sudden it breaks. So I had it and she didn't see me grab it, picked me up for the power bomb. I was on top of her and I hit her over the head with it. Like that was like probably one of my favorite
That's
finishes there.
awesome. No, that's a
Very
great.
Love that.
creative. Yeah, it was badass.
Your matches with her in general were always just so good. I think an anniversary just passed too, right? 17 years ago. You guys, one of your matches just passed. I think 17 years ago yesterday. I don't know which one
Right.
it was,
Yeah,
but
it was the pay-per-view in Canada. Falls Called Anywhere match. I think it was like No Surrender. And I actually got a concussion in that match. And it was because the table didn't break. We were going through a table. I actually power bombed her through a table. Well, her ass bounced off it. It didn't break. And then the table flipped over. It got me in the stomach. And I'm like, hold on a second. And she's like, yep, sounds good. So we like lay there for a second. Well, I'm like, well, we got to make this table break somehow. So then she put it up. We put it up against the corner, and then she just speared me in through it, and I hit my head pretty hard, and then I got backstage and barfed in front of everyone. So that was nice, but yeah.
that's brutal. I feel like we don't hear enough about how good she really was because I think a lot of fans maybe remember her like WWE Karma stuff that was quick, and like the true fans know the TNA knockout stuff. I mean, she
Yeah.
dominated.
I know when I saw her going there, I was like, oh God, they're gonna ruin her. I'm like, no, but she had to go where she had to go, but obviously it didn't work out. But and I don't even that's the funny part because I always forget until someone brings it up that she even went there.
Yeah,
Like to me, it's like, oh, she was just awesome Kong.
Exactly. And Awesome Kong is great. I can't wait to see if she ever shows up again in TNA. That'd be great. Did you catch Slammiversary a month ago?
Um, I didn't. No, I don't think I did. No, I didn't.
It was cool. I thought it was a fun event. It was
It's not online, obviously, on the Twitter machine or
yeah.
Instagram.
I wanted to hear your thoughts on AJ Styles returning because I thought that was really cool for
That was badass. I think it'd be cool for him to like come back and have a match with someone like a Frankie Kazarian. I think would be great because he's one of the originals still, working full time. So I think that would be very cool.
yeah.
See that AJ needs to have one more match in TNA before he officially retires. Because I remember hearing in an interview he does not want to wrestle past 50.
I actually heard that too. Yeah. And he seems like I feel like if he goes until 50, like we're gonna get the age that we're getting now too, which is as phenomenal as it's always been,
That's
right?
crazy. That's just crazy to me how some of these guys have been going nonstop for like 25 years and
Yeah.
they do all this stuff. It's like, God damn.
I'm sure it's like it all blends together, but is there any memories that stick out of watching AJ wrestle back in TNA? Anything really phenomenal that you saw him do?
Well, I actually got to egg with him. It's funny because I totally forgot about the match until it popped up on Instagram. It was me, him, and Gail Kim versus Kurt Angle and the Beautiful People. We main evented one of the impacts.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I forgot about that match. I was like, damn. Till I saw a promo we all did, and I just started laughing. I'm like, oh my God. The shit you forget and then you see it, you're like, oh, all right, there it is.
I can't, yeah, and I hear a lot of wrestlers say that and I can see how it all blends together, but like, I don't know, forgetting, like hearing all the intricacies, I guess, that go into a match, and then learning that years later it could just, kind
Right.
of be gone.
So I'm losing my I do have a good memory, but there's
Yeah.
times where people will send me stuff and I look at it, I'm like I don't. I'm like, shit, I don't remember that match. I'm like, damn.
Well, I'd love to hear if you remember it. Do you remember any matches you had with Gail Kim? Because you had some great chemistry with her too, and TNA Hall of Famer, which is awesome to see.
I know, right? Yeah, Gail Kim, she always made me step out of my comfort zone and make me step it up. Because I was not a technical wrestler. So I got to show a side that a lot of people didn't get to see a lot, or I can hang with the best.
Yeah.
That was cool. Like and because we would like always think about, like different stuff. Like it's way different from working like the Beautiful People or, Awesome Kong. But with me and Gail, like I was actually doing like technical stuff. I was like, I can do it. I'm like, all right. Because like we just would play around in the beginning, whatever, and then we do ODB stuff. But I was like, nah, I want to keep it, a little because she was more tough in the ring, and I didn't want to like be slapping my ass and doing all this because then I didn't want her to be out of her character. So
Yeah.
like, no, I need to step it up with you.
That's awesome. So she brought out a different side of ODB.
Yep, she sure did.
Tiffany, have you had anybody that you've had like really good chemistry in there with? Is it maybe Francesca Sheedy? Because she's your best friend, right?
She is my best friend, and we do have very, very awesome chemistry in the ring. I think um we're crazy, right? Because she's my best friend and we've existed in the same places but never at the same time. So like she was at GTS and we existed there for a while, but I was just like hanging out and managing. We interacted in the ring like maybe twice during that time. And then I went to Titan and now she's at Titan and then she was at LTW and then I was at LTW and then like she was at UWC and we had one match there because we kept pushing them for it. But we always end up like this.
Right.
Um, if I had to pick somebody else, I would say definitely I feel like I have really good chemistry with Tiffany Grady. She is my rival. I'm still the better Tiff, by the way.
Mhm.
She is just fantastic. In ring, I love that our characters always butt heads, but she also has that like I like to have a good time, and sometimes I get a little silly about what I'm doing, and I'll drag her into it and she's like, "Oh, that's what we're doing today. All right." And she just goes along with whatever I'm doing. It's just she's the one person that I can confidently say I can be in the ring with at any time on any notice and we'll figure it out. And I'm not the best at calling things like that, but her and I will always figure it out.
I don't know how it feels to you guys, like in the ring. I'm sure it feels good, but as fans, I feel like we can see it, when two wrestlers really, really click in there. Like, I mean, obviously the match is great, but like it's almost something more.
Absolutely. I think like there are people I've been in the ring with and we just don't it's not happening. And I think I can feel that pretty quickly, like, okay, so we're not sinking. It is what it is. We're gonna work through it. And then there's just something again, like every time I wrestle Tiff, and I'll say it for the rest of my life, it's a magical, super powered adrenaline feeling for me because I know like we're just gonna go out there and kill each other and have a great time.
Yeah. Well, Jesse, I want to ask you a question here. It's a little bit putting you on the spot, but has anybody ever asked you to build TNA Wrestling Knockouts Mount Rushmore or name those? You could be on it, absolutely, as one of the originals. You could put yourself on it, but if you had to make one, who do you think would be on that?
For like the just the girls, you mean?
Yeah, just the girls.
All right. Yeah. Of course I'm gonna be on it, yeah. Oh, it's a tough one. Um, so obviously I'd put, me on there, Awesome Kong, Gail Kim. Mm, and can the beautiful people share one? Share
Yeah.
their faces together?
That'd be perfect. Like a really nice
The
policy.
original. Yeah, the original beautiful people. Angela Love and Velvet Sky.
Yes, no, absolutely. I mean, and I think of those people you just named, including yourself, only one is in the Hall of Fame, the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame. Have you ever thought about when you might?
Actually, two of them, Kong and
Oh,
Gail.
Kong's in it, yeah. So even better question then, when is ODB's time to go into the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame?
Yeah, what the fuck? Come on.
I was
Well,
gonna say.
I'm like, it'd be great for the food truck business. I'm like, come on, I could put Hall of Famer on the food truck. I'm like,
Can
that'd
you
be
put it in a neon sign on the side of the food truck
exact.
though?
Yeah, I'll put it like flashing Hall of Fame.
Yes. With the big arrow pointing
Yeah,
to
right
it.
here, right here. I think that would be huge for the. I mean, I always look at it now like, what can wrestling do for me to help the food truck businesses? Like, and I think adding the Hall of Famer in front of the name would be awesome.
It would be. It would be awesome and well deserved too. I mean, I
Thank
would
you.
love to see
Appreciate
that.
that.
Um,
Thank you.
to dive into some of the awesome work you did with Eric Young, how did you first learn that you were getting paired up with him?
They did it was the guys tournament for the titles, the take titles, and they just wanted it to be funny. They're like, let's just throw ODB with EY. And I'm like, what? So we did a promo. And I think it was, and then Sting was in the promo. And I come up, interrupt it, and he's like, well, who's my partner? I'm like, me, it's me. He's like, I know that's you in front of me. I know, and doing his character. I'm like, no, dumbass, it's me. You're taking with me. And we actually, so we beat the guys the first round. And I hate it. It's kind of sucky, but the people that we wrestled, they actually lost their jobs that night because they were. That's why we put or they put me over because they knew those two guys weren't gonna no longer be there, so it wouldn't hurt anyone. And then we wrestled Samoa Joe and Nick Aldis, and they weren't too happy with like wrestling me and EY because they knew it was gonna be more like character wise. And I was like, listen, guys, I'm like, this is gonna be one of the over matches of the night, so let's just have fun out there. You guys can have your serious matches later, but and they took just like Tiffany said, like some guys will beat you up, not beat you up, but like lay it in a little bit more. And that's what Nick did. And after the because he whipped me in, I was like, God damn. And then after the match, he's like, you all right? I'm like, I feel great. Thanks for the match. I appreciate it. And kept walking. Uh,
Awesome. And I mean, it clicked instantly, I feel. At least as a fan, like you guys, that chemistry in there, like we were saying, chemistry, your on-screen chemistry, you and Eric Young just kept getting better.
Yeah, and they let us do our thing. That was the best part. And EY is like funny in real life, so and then just putting our stuff together, I was just like, oh my God, it was just because like they would give us, like we do our pre-tapes and Vince Russo would just be like, just say whatever you guys want, but here's where we want you guys to go with it. So we just do it and then we watch it back. We're like, that's fine. That looks good.
How was it putting the wedding together with you and Eric Young?
We were actually nervous about that because I remember I was like, I think it's happening too soon. And both me and EY thought about it. And Lagana was doing the wedding. And they said it's going to be in a steel cage. That way no one can interfere. And then because we didn't hear much about it until like 2 days before I was heading back to Orlando. And then Lagana called me and said, "Oh, by the way, you need to have camouflage bra underwear on." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You're taking the wedding dress off." Like EY always took his pants off and then had his underwear on, and I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Jesus Christ!" I'm like, "Thanks for the 2 days heads up." I'm like, "Shit, I better get a spray tan and all that." So that, but me and EY were like, "We got to make this like memorable, like one of the best wrestling weddings."
Yeah.
So, and then Sarita and Rosita was part of it too, and they did a great job. So yeah, it was a fun. And actually, I have the wedding dress still in my office right there.
That's
Hanging.
awesome. That is very cool to see. Wow. Does it come on the road with you or no, it stays there? I could see it as a good prop if someone's like eating some ribs or something. Like,
Right?
check it out. And EY has once again morphed his persona to be something memorable now, still in TNA.
Yeah, now he's doing because I wanted to do something with him, but then also he's doing a serious character now. So I think he's kind of over the EY thing. But I think before he retires, I think he has to bring back EY a couple more times.
So classic, and it really is like when you think that funny Eric Young, you think early days of TNA. It's
Yeah,
it's like synonymous. Which brings me to my next question here. Were you around when they made the TNA video game? Were you in TNA?
I believe so. I think I don't know if any of the girls got to be in it.
Well, yeah, I was curious with the Knockouts division being so, prevalent, why none of them were in the video game?
Not too sure. But then, well, speaking of video games, then you got action figures, which I'm pissed because I never got an action figure. Because I remember I left TNA 2014, and then they scanned me probably a couple years before that. Like everyone was getting their action figures, and they scanned me, and then Gail Kim got an action figure. Beautiful People got like two, and I'm like, where the hell's mine? And they're like, oh, it's coming, it's coming. I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, shit, I'm leaving. So I'm like, damn, I never got my action figure. And I still want one to this day. I just want a damn action figure.
Yeah, seriously. I remember those TNA Jack specific figures too when they were all rolling them out around
Yeah.
like that 2014 time period. Well,
I mean, some of
hey,
the knockouts that weren't even a big deal got action figures.
yeah.
Not that I'm pissed about it or nothing, but.
I feel like it could still come. You never know. I mean, there's so much merch being made now of like wrestlers,
Right.
all eras, yeah, from all different companies. Before we wind it down, I want to ask you one more question, Jesse. From your TNA career, you were part of a very unique TNA episode, Total Nonstop Deletion, and which I think completely took place on the Hardy compound. We see the Hardys now back in TNA. Do you have any memories from that crazy episode?
Yeah, because it was actually I brought because I was traveling on my Airstream at the time, and I'm like, well, can I get my Airstream on TV? So I brought the Airstream to actually Jeff's house because I'm friends with his wife Beth. She
Okay.
was sweet. She's like, bring the Airstream here. You don't have to stay in it. You can stay in our house that night. And I'm like, oh, awesome. So TNA then filmed me coming out of the Airstream. Like I was there. Came out with my gear. I came walking out and then I went to the thing. It was cool. I'm glad I was part of it. It was it was different. I mean, you're wrestling in, a barn, which I probably wrestled in plenty of barns in my indie days. But it was cool. It was different. Oh,
Yeah, definitely a different moment. And like TNA, I think experimenting with themselves like yet again, with the different era of TNA.
right. Yeah, definitely experimenting.
Well, I want to thank you both, so much as we wanted down here. Tiffany, it's been awesome hearing just a bit about your career and your character. I really do think you have some of the most iconic hair. Absolutely, at least in the indies. What are some long-term and short-term goals for you as you continue on?
So a couple of the goals that I'm really trying to work towards is I would love to be signed to WoW, Women of Wrestling. I think the Cotton Candy Princess and WoW are destined to be together. I just don't know when that happens. There is a new company, Afterglow Women's Wrestling. I will be working with them as well, so I'm excited to start there. But other than that, I want to wrestle and learn from everybody. And 2026, I have an opportunity to really like restart in a sense my life and kind of rebuild and put a new focus on wrestling. And I really think you're going to be seeing a lot of your favorite princess all over the place. Because I do want to just travel more and I want like ODB is a great example because if I can find my way to you, trust me, that princess is coming and we're looking to learn. So, that's really just my goal is to learn as much as possible from as many people as possible.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. WoW would be cool, and I love
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. Jesse, how about you? Goals for the Airstream for the food truck?
Yes, the food trucks. The goal is nice because we take the winters off so we can reset. Like Tiffany said, you kind of reset and build yourself back up again. And I have a lot more. I'm actually ready for the next season already because I'm ready to take it to bigger events. And our goal is not next year. Eventually, we're gonna get a tour bus and we're gonna put the food truck behind the tour bus and go on one hell of a meet and greet and piggyback off, some of the WWE, big pay-per-views if they stay in the United States. So, but they are coming to SummerSlam 2026 into Minneapolis. So we will
Yes.
definitely have the food truck out there and like with WrestleCon and stuff. But yeah, just I mean, my wrestling days, I'm not like, yes, I did talk to TNA a little bit. I love one more run because I can still go. I'm in great shape right now and taking better care of myself than I did, I think, 15 years ago, for sure. But yeah, just to keep, living my life how I want to live. And I'm still involved in wrestling, but yes, but now I'm doing my life after wrestling, which is fantastic. I do enjoy it, but I still like to be involved in wrestling. So
Yeah, I can't wait. I would love to see one more run, but I'd also love to try the food truck because this is now, I think, five
Yeah.
years later, and I still haven't
right.
crossed paths at any of the events. I really want to. So one
Well,
day.
yeah, and I think SummerSlam, if you guys all come to Minneapolis, because I know Tiffany, because you could probably because they do a lot of indie stuff during that time, like WrestleCon and stuff is involved with it, and then there's tons of indies I can introduce you to in Minneapolis.
Absolutely.
We actually food truck with a group called MAW, Midwest All Star Wrestling, and they use a lot of women on the show, a lot of girls, and they bring them from all over. So we do, and then we'll food truck at some shows with them, like the bigger shows. So
I will get myself out there. That is an
Mhm.
absolute.
I'm good.
That's awesome. My final question, yeah, Jesse, was any lasting words of advice, wisdom for Tiffany as she continues on?
It's a fun. Like I look back at my journey and like enjoy this time. Like you said, it sounds like you're having fun. You want to go towards WoW, which I think is great because that's all character. That's very cool. That's a good goal to have fun like that and just keep enjoying. Like I said, travel. You can travel and get paid, and just oh my God, I'm excited for you 'cause it's fun to watch like hungry, the youngins starting out and it's gonna be great because then you're gonna look back, 15 years later, like, oh my God, I went there and there and there and I did all that, and be proud of yourself that you're going after it because not many people do go after their dreams. So it's very
Thank
cool. I
you.
think you're on the right track. Just stay true to yourself and keep doing your thing and, just stay on track. Don't, you seem like you're on track. So you're
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah. I'm excited for you.
Rewind, recap, relive. Woo! That's what the world is watching.